Is it working here? Testing, testing. I wanted to start on time and usually pops up and I must have missed it. But anyway, I did make it on time. Have you ever seen the t-shirts? I've seen women wearing them, students around the campus where I live. Sorry, not sorry. You know, hey, sorry the world's not the way it used to be. Now we got women in charge. That's basically the, oh, sorry, you wanted to ban abortion. You changed the laws, but it's still happening. Sorry, we're not sorry. They changed it and they're happy they changed it. Well, personally, according to my notes, I'm sorry you're not sorry. I regret you're not regretting because this is a judgment. The growth of Rome, going to put that in question today. How long was Rome? Was Rome really only what the Bible teaches us? And then we see it. Rome ruled for a little while. Herod and the Roman Pontius Pilate became friends that day. I'll get into a lot of examples. What I have written down here, it says the growth of Rome as the growing beast system, because only with Rome taking over could they be in power to say you can't buy or sell. It wasn't that Medes, Babylonian, and Persians, we all agree the whole flat earth snow globe is all under these three laws that must agree. A chance to practice my Espanol. Hola, Zach Macamudo. Me llamo Paco. ¿Cómo está usted? That's how I learned it in Mazan, Illinois. 3 towns made up a high school of 200. Paul, the apostle, was born a Roman. But as you read the book of Acts, he didn't bring it up until all of a sudden he was like, hey, I'm a Roman. And there's like, oh, this guy says he's a Roman. And then the next thing you know, a couple chapters later, he goes, you put us in stocks and I'm a Roman. And the guy goes, wait a minute, to undo him. We put a Roman citizen in stocks. How'd you get to be this? And we get the whole background. As shown in Acts, Roman power continued to grow. Paul invoked his birthright citizenship more often to better outcomes later in the book of Acts. As Rome's power grew, signs and miracles faded away. As pomp and circumstances grew, the message of the wife of Pontius Pilate and the fact that Bernice, we're going to look at the Herodian dynasties and the Idumeans and how powerful were they. We'll look at their coins. You saw one on the thumbnail of a Pollyanna. And if a Pollyanna, when the more we look at it, doesn't remind you, it's the Statue of Liberty, man. Zach Mack. Do you see that they're on strike in Telluride? Are they, the people in Telluride are only getting $21 an hour. I hope that you're getting at least 25 because you guys should be on strike with them if you're not. It's just my opinion. You know how long is it going to be until that IMHO, in my humble opinion, when a biblical way might be IMMO, in my meek opinion. When you're meek like Moses, the meekest man that ever lived, you might lay down. Bernice, they remain congruent. So we're going to look at Bernice and the pomp and circumstance that we see in all the pictures. Number one, remembering to do is, I'm going to look at a couple of videos. Looks like I have very few. So that's, what is that? The Port of Rome, huh? Somebody had to take a census, Was that the first census ever? Was that Rome trying to be like, hey, we're the player now? It seems that, but even Rome was pretty much into, hey, take care of it yourself. Take care of it with your own laws, So we'll see. There's that picture. Now there's their God. Doesn't this mean Anno Napoid? Doesn't that mean year one or something like that? Is this the beginning of their new religion with their new Apollyanna left foot stepping over the pedestal like the Statue of Liberty? There's your Fender Stratocaster guitar right there blaring that 432 rockin'. I'm just kidding. I don't know what's going on there. Is that an anchor? Because this is a ship that you can see the bows, frutility and all of that. This was it. This is what they did. They started bumping the coin out. I told you I didn't have very many pictures. I hope I was sharing the screen on that. I was intending to. There, I had this and I noticed I had to change it because it said a shot time. Rome ruled only a short time. Panic in the silver market. Cops, everyone's out of control. There's no gang that in the government that isn't trying to squeeze it for a little extra money. This is what
it's Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. It's the 365th day of the year. Can you believe it? And
no.
Pittsburgh around midnight. This will be clearing the lakes around midnight. Indianapolis, you guys are going to get in on this. There might be a little bit of a mix between rain and snow. Look at all this activity that starts popping up after January 8th. We're going to have trough after trough coming in. And Cold Air is going to try to win this battle as we go.
Win it.
But specifically on Christmas and New Year's Day. I mean, what in the world's going on?
Hey, look. The little town I live closest to, is on the map. This is my area for being a good Christian and try to help the people and stuff. I want to be the elder here. The Lord already is said it's got to happen, but I mean, right now, who am I going to accept an anointing from except God? What a group of people are going to come and go to me. Hey, Paco, we're going to anoint you. And you are? So maybe we'll keep up that. So what I want to look at first, mystery plays. Here's a depiction of a mystery play. Doesn't it look like something that would be maybe post-Armageddon, how much of the buildings are showing? But they used to get the peasants and the nobles together. Somebody did, at least in Bavaria, and start teaching the Trinitarian gospel, ramming it, big productions. And I don't believe they allowed women to play the parts of women. They do now. So we'll look at that. Craft, the mysteries, plays performed by craft guilds. What are those guys? What'd you get caught looking at there, dude? I know what that is. That's how they're doing autopsies that were illegal. That's what I've been led to believe, and I think that they're probably right. So they've got all of the plays written. They give it the year 1576. Just file these away. This is not the big takeaway. But they did have, the miracle plays, English, Spanish. That's your Rome. Those are the ones who took over the world and supported, slavery. But the people that in Spain, Portugal, England, they didn't care because they were living good. They didn't really even understand what slavery was, most of them, giving them the benefit of the doubt. I hope this is 32 mystery plays. You'll have to ask RJ Luther, somebody else in the comments, what's the difference between the late Middle Ages and the Middle Ages? Sound like those stock investors. Well, it just hit the new highest low. And I know first time you hear that, it's like, he must not have meant that. But yeah, they do. There's high highs and low lows, and then there's highest low. Daily. Big productions. Small population, the play consisted of it because they had to get it out, man. 280 men to play the 243 roles. So I think that is assuming that the women didn't play their own parts. Let's look at some Bible here. Clear these up. Sighing. What is this? Because actually, I thought there would be more. Sorrow and sighing. These are the Old Testament sighing. And 51. These are people sighing and fleeing away from, wow. I guess God was mad that they were sinning like the kingdom of Israel. Well, yeah, they were. Going backwards, looking at some more. These are the ecclesiastical hope one at Isaiah 35:10. A redeemed Zion, gladness and joy will overtake them. Suffering lays bare their anguish before the covenant of the Lord. Lamentations. Well, I'm not surprised that your groans are there. Jeremiah, I fainted. He hadn't had any rest, so he was knocked out for 3 weeks almost. This was no small deal when Daniel can witness to it, that when you get hit with it, it's like, oh man, take these words. You have said, woe is me, because Lord has added sorrow to my pain. I am worn out with groaning. I have found no rest. And sometimes it's either from pain, mental anguish, worry, anxiety. Casting your care upon him sometimes might involve this. The verse I got here is the treacherous are going to be treacherous, the plunderers are going to be plundering. Oh, because there's visions where this has to happen to somebody. And it's going to be this. It's going to be an aha movement. Romans 8:23, even within ourselves, the first fruits of the Spirit are groaning within ourself. You want to hear it in the plain English? Not only the creation, but we ourselves who have, and this was talking to them then, they had the first fruits of the Spirit. They were still groaning inwardly as they were waiting, expecting in faith, eagerly for adoption as sons, as speaking to the redemptions of the body, because they were already the first fruits of the Spirit. Back looking at this, Hoseasian, it's not used that much. 3 out of the 5, though. You think that's a strong root word? I do. Oh, I'm glad we agree on that. He predestined us for this. Huh. I don't want to dwell on that today. This show is long enough. I got to get into the welfare system of Rome. You're not going to believe it. Man, they were giving away the farm. No, literally, not figuratively. So, Hoseasian, we have to be adopted as sons or daughters, of course. They were waiting eagerly. We should. Compound of this husios, it's like that, son, relation, closeness, something that will, possibly have a chance to endure. And to see him, I don't know. Put son. I will put thine enemies under your feet. Okay. There were some prophets that got cut into pieces. They got cut asunder. Oh my goodness. Yikes. Here we go with this other one here. Now you're redeemed. When you're adopted, you're redeemed if you're faithful. Remember, this is all contingent. There's a $9 word. It's not really the $10 one. Redemption. Okay, we got a pretty good idea what that means, right? Redeemed. But a lot of people go, yeah, I'm redeemed. It's a money thing. You were redeemed by the blood and love of Jesus Christ. Wow. This is all about Rome faking it and then faking the history. These are the verses where you can, I wanted, is this a dead horse? Sometimes I beat, you were adopted and it's a good, strong root word. Cool, right? Hey, look at this. Something's waiting eagerly. There's only one way to do it. That's what it said. Perseverance, because it was a judgment then. I'm trying to, and maybe a little more lighthearted than usual way today, let you know it's only going to get worse. But you're ready. It's going to be, don't revel in it, but it's going to get a lot worse in a lot of other places than where most of you are listening. The Lord has given you a reason to hope. But we still got 20 years to go. It's not like, hey, it's upon us. Oh, there's that. The spirit, the ghost, numenos, pneuma. I just want to really, there's the manifestation of the Spirit, taught by the Spirit. You learn by the Spirit. There's that one in Romans again. Newness of spirit, for the law of the Spirit of life. The mindset on the Spirit. Pneumatos. 383 times. Here's the big thing is that it was obvious. By faith, you believe in the Spirit. The Spirit world. The Bible's drawing you. You hear his voice. I'm counting on it. You get, You know, you're not going to see fire over your head with the sound like a locomotion, but it didn't blow out the candles. But the mighty rushing wind and the speaking in tongues, that's probably not going to be for you. But you have that spirit. You know you're drawn to the Bible. Let's see what we got going. Yeah, what a mystery wall. This old news.
Part converts to
Yikes.
Gate. So this is really good news, because not only does it mean that we do have a gated entrance and the modern road didn't just bulldoze through this monument, but also it means that it's probably pre-Norman. So this is certainly 1,000 years old because of its name, recorded in 1086 in the Domesday Book as just...
They give all the credit to Rome for all of these fake histories. This is how everyone got around when the gospel was preached to every creature under heaven. The entire world, not just the Mediterranean, was ruled by the Babylonians, the Medes, and the Persians. It mentions India and Asia. This and the Bible is the way it went down. They added the 1,000 years. It's time to quit going. But we got Josephus and Dead Sea Scrolls saying something else. Now, play that back in your head.
That. So let's step back to 1909 with a chap called Arthur Bulliard, a local antiquarian. He had a decent medical career but became somewhat obsessed with finding lake villages. So he gave up that career in search of a local village, and he found one just to the northwest of the Glastonbury Tor. He found what was later described as the best preserved prehistoric village.
What a way to go, dude. Of all the places on this, I know you think it's a small world after all, but you go paint it and see what kind of work you got cut out for you.
In the UK. He did that for 15 years and then cast his eye to this. The wall here. Every time anybody was able to answer a question about this, well, it just threw up.
You guys understand this guy? He's freaking the English.
Another question. So he decided to excavate it, do some proper archaeology, and he did so.
1909 for 15 years. It's all a lie, but they have to believe it. This guy, he's got trees where he can go and flip up the lens, and then there's supposedly Roman or Etruscan murals everywhere. You can't go out in the country in England without tripping over this.
In length, and it ends on the south side towards Kennard's Moor, and on the north side towards Hartymore, a one-time impenetrable swamp, he declares. So all of a sudden now, well, we've got some context to this in the landscape. So what he means by this, if we go back to pre-11th, 12th century, this really was the main route in and out of Glastonbury until the monks started significantly draining this.
And we're going to talk about in Rome, where did they get the money? The logistics of this. Only the Bible explains it. Their history doesn't make sense on the work and the money. But everybody's fascinated with the Charlie Kirk because that doesn't work either.
Landscape. Now the land behind me where the road comes.
I want you to see what they found on the hill. Where's that big picture at? I don't want to. There it is. So somebody built that.
The ages as a defended place. Two significance about that route, the bridge and the south to street. Above all, though, it wouldn't necessarily help change our understanding of what this wall was. The only thing that really sticks in my mind that I can't sort of shake is the similarity between the name of that bridge and this wall. Can't quite work that one out yet. I think together they help us paint
But I will go, remember the coin on the thumbnail? You know, was it the first pomp?
Picture of Glastonbury through the ages as a defended place. Two significant points of entry that, in my opinion, stood at the same time, likely on and off in different eras. Okay, so I don't always like to give a definite opinion on something if I don't really...
So I was looking at that. here's another one. So I have 2 of my algorithms. I've got to see if there's a live storm going. We'll get right back into it. Someone's watching my backup channel. Tornado Page is doing storm work in the north now, I guess. Her and her husband have a little side hustle doing storm chasing. Where are you going? You're just going to chase the storm while you're in the storm? Sturgeon Point, you're way up there.
Yep, there's a software. Yep. It kind of sticks out, like juts out a little bit, so it might be bigger.
Brandon is on the job too, chasing storms. I saw him at the end of Tornado Pagey. Things found. Why do you think they break the noses off? Because they look black otherwise. It's obvious. That's part of the takeover. After Armageddon, there was a lot of rebuilding going on. That's not a black guy with his nose broke off. I don't think where they got Egypt is really Egypt. It's all such a cover-up. A Pollyanna, their art. What is with the left foot, like with the Statue of Liberty and so many others, that a lot of times they're stuck in chains, but they're always either at the edge of the pedestal or over it. There's no chain here, but how long? We trust them on every single thing. Now, welfare. To them, this was the whole world because that's their whole world. This is where the white people lived, Claiming they did it all in this, although they know China had great big boats. Everybody had bigger boats, but this is the one they want to show you. But still laid out city grids that even had the Jewish quarter 30 years before Christ. It was getting around, wasn't it? So that's the thumbnail. There you go. This one. I thought, for some reason, I might have thought I had another one. There's part of the wall. And there's the inside, Santa Maria Cosmedian. But basically, those were storehouses for the Curia Annona, the care of Annona. That's like a Pollyanna Annona. That's their same god. I'm darn sure. Million people, it says, by the 2nd century AD. Well, I don't believe that. But somehow something happened where the goddess Adana, and I believe we'll look at her next, started being worshipped. So Rome did social welfare, permanent social welfare, state-run social welfare program, which gave out heavily subsidized and later free, because as during the time of the Bible, they gained more and more power to about 200,000 people in Rome alone. But everyone was good to go for it if you could prove you were one of the people that got supported by the slave labor of them taking over it. Now, here you go. This looks so familiar because this is how they started, but they got better at passing out the bread. They had the same places come and worship, but they're letting everybody worship. At that time, people would have been recommending go to Jerusalem, but Rome was taken over because they were giving away bread and circuses. That's their route. Gladiator contest, the bread and circuses, giving it away. I guess, they say that they hate it, but they love Rome and it's what they're doing. So maybe they're only doing it for our own good. The cult of virtues, huh? No, this is the goddess Annona. Corn grain means substance, is the divine personification of the grain supply to the city of Rome. She's closely connected with her sister, or whom she's often depicted. I wonder what do you got on your feet? You're not showing me your foot, but you could tell it's a good example of how they would have put it into is that a bolt? It's something like that, and just make it look like it. So, or it could be, looks. A lot of times they had them fit inside each other, but these were the Bible times. These are what's depicted. Her left foot's forward. It's right at the edge. She doesn't have the crown yet. Running away is a primitive fascist. That's not a black man's nose. "1873, bring it back, bring it back." This is that people often conflate Ceres, is that how you would pronounce it? Capital CERES, atop the Chicago Board of Trade. Huh. I would have thought that was Michelle Obama. There was a plan to kill Nero. Pisonian. I guess that's what Ringo Starr, Nero looked like. Yikes. Oh no, he's going to punish her hands and punish her feet because she spoke out. That's from a 14th century woodcut. I just wanted to see this. Didn't get as much from it as I hoped, but it's their God. She helped suppress the plot, I guess, and maybe he saved her, but it was Jupiter. I think I do look at a lot of coins here. Un momento. I wanted to look at Agrippa and Bernice because haven't we seen the pictures of how a Roman leader or a leader in power would enter with his wife? The Jewish Bernice from the Herodian the Herodian dynasty. Verse 23, chapter 25. The next day, Agrippa and Bernice came with great pomp and entered the auditorium along with the commanders and leading men of the city. And Festus ordered that Paul be brought in. Paul was in charge because Agrippa let him be in charge of that big city. And so he tells you, he's like, whole Jewish community doesn't like him, so I got him in jail here. I'm not kidding you. Julia Bernice was a Jewish queen of the Roman Empire. So they say. Sister of Herod the Great? The guy that built everything? Huh. fled Jerusalem in 66. I wonder what was going on. I don't know if that was sarcastic enough, but it's all I could get out right there. Uh-oh. Looks like the Rothschilds had to start somewhere. Anyway, it was all about money, money, money. This is another one of those gods that Miriam. Oh, I thought it was going to be about the god. Okay. I didn't look at it close enough. And again, according to Josephus, who cares? Now, the Herodian dynasty, way to leave it right in the middle with no pictures, man. They did have some stone coins, metal coins, Jewish history. This is, Wikipedia is like, look, somebody's looking up Jewish stuff. It's awesome, man. Are you sharing the screen? Yep. Okay. Herodian kingdom. Parthians invaded the kingdoms. They were not happy. Rome wasn't doing it. Antipater, the Idumean, for some reason, that Herod was an Idumean was a big deal when I was a freshman in college so long ago, but that was like 1983 or 4. So I'm not, where were we? Edomites, Judah, Herod the Great. Again, we can't trust anything Josephus said. But Antipater, I believe he's mentioned in the scripture, something was going on. Persian King Cyrus, anointed of God to tell people, I'll build you a temple, go back, I'll support you. You're the true God. He knew some of the people. It's so, here we go. Here's a praetorium, Herod's praetorium. I looked it up because I was, I wanted to show you what it said about it on the Wikipedia. Only taking what your spirit tells you to take seriously. Due to the number of the uses of the word praetorium, it is difficult to describe. A praetorium could be a large building, a permanent tent, or in some cases, even be mobile. It's mentioned, but they would have you believe it's like this, but we know that probably would be something more along the lines of that. Psalm 9, we did this one last night, caught in a pit, ensnared by their hands, devastated his homeland. This was all going the wrong way for them. We can build up gold, silver, and precious stones. I'm going to leave that one up. Harsh, severe. There's some cruel bondage that does happen. We're warned about it. Don't have a hardened heart or a hard neck, a stiff, stubborn neck. It's a way of being like treat them in harshly. If you wanted to look up, you stiff neck people, that's what this is. You're obstinate. It's what it means. Yeah, there it is. One time they decided to go with it. Two, and maybe the plural. Churlish. Exodus 34. We'll slide down to verse 9. O Lord, he said, if I have indeed found favor in your sight, my Lord, please go with us. Although this is a stiff-necked people, forgive our iniquity and sin and take us as your inheritance. How about that? And then so renews the covenant. This covenant that the Jews said it lasted one time forever. They have not read their Bible. The Lord has extended his hands at least 4 times and then divorced them and said, that is enough because now I've got a Hola and a Holaba in a contest that who can be the biggest whore. And he was comparing the kingdom of Israel and Judah each other. He said they're a bunch of whores. Cheating with the whore gods. Okay, we studied that one. Was that really? So I'm only laying out my theory today. It looks like everything else here is a carryover from last night. This can't be kicking it. Yes, it is. So unfortunately, I knew that when I signed off yesterday. I told you I'm very excited. Can't wait to see what the Lord is going to show me. But I thought he'd show me more, but it's a short show. Oh, so they're fleeing Telluride. You know what? Some of the people that are working in Aspen right now, they're storehousing them in Leadville, Zach, and making them drive like an hour and a half on the worst roads ever in wintertime because they can't afford to live in or near Aspen. What are the people doing in Monarch? Hey, Luther. Remember, everybody, it's Flat Earth Nation. The golden age is past because the mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends will never tell you anything else. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamen. Adios, amigos, from the border of southern